It looks like I am live. All right. Very good. So let me know if you can hear me. That would be nice. Let me invite some people on really quick like. All right. Give me a shareable link. And I'm live. All right. And let's see here. Let's go to Blue Sky. Let's see here. I prefer to do everything in the browser. A lot of people think that's crazy, but I actually think that's a better way to do it. There we go. All right. Unix SD. How about open source? All right, I'm just kind of waiting for people to kind of join my stream, but anyway, I hope everybody is doing good. They're blessed, right? I know I'm sure blessed. I forgot. All right. Going live. All right. So anyway, how is wow, I don't remember my, okay, whatever. Alrighty. Okay, so I invited a few people on. Let me know how the volume is in this stream. We got a couple of viewers. Anyway, I'm excited today. I have a new show today. This is going to be rather rudimentary, though. I will warn you because I didn't have time to put this together. I put this whole system together at the last minute, and you know how I work full time as it is, it was a little challenging to say the least. So anyway, welcome to the Unix Mindset. So we're going to start off with the mistake of the week. Yeah, there's a huge mistake. No, not really. I tried to install FreeBSD as my main driver. It didn't quite work as expected. By the way, how's my volume? Just let me know. I tried to install FreeBSD as my main driver, and I have to say that it kind of surprised me. Uh, I thought I had all the boxes checked, like everything that I struggled with ever on Linux. That those were the things that I took a look at. There was like just a few things that I needed, and I figured the rest I could figure out, and I almost pulled it off. I really did. I actually really impressed myself, if I'm being perfectly honest. I really did. So, anyway, good. Thank you so much for that. All right. And so, anyway, after this segment, I will definitely come back to the comments, but thank you for letting me know about the volume. All right. So, again, I almost pulled this off. And when I say that I almost pulled it off, there was just a couple of things that it just was kind of a deal breaker. And I'm going to explain this because actually now that I think about all this, I kind of want this experience back. I almost want to do this again. I'll explain. So let's start off with the things I do like. I'm just going to be really honest. Things just seemed better engineered all the way around. Everything was uber stable. The only thing that I kind of annoyed me was PKG was, well, it was a little outdated. Other than that, though, everything worked out of the box. I was enjoying my time using this. I really was. I was having a blast. And, you know, it seemed like, yeah. Anyway, it just seemed like I don't know, it seemed like everything was kind of working together at first. It was just, I just needed to spend the time to get it working. And that kind of brings me to the second part where that really impressed me was the things that I was discovering about ZFS. Okay, the things about ZFS, oh man, I was just in heaven learning about, this file system is better than ButterFS. Let's just be real about it. It's better in every metric you could possibly imagine. And so I just have to say that I was really impressed with some of the rollback features and things like that. But I was actually really surprised by it. The other thing I was surprised with, their documentation is next to none. I used to just rave about the Arch Wiki. No. It's like FreeBSD went and said, oh, no. Hold my beer. This documentation is just off the chains. They explain how to do everything and how to get everything working the right way. All right, so let's talk about a few things that I didn't like so much. Well, some of the things that I didn't like so much was it seemed like support is a little sketchy for certain computers. I mean, let's just be real. Like, I think that BSD is just primarily made for ThinkPads and some Dell laptops. Beyond that, like I have an MSI laptop. Yeah, it wasn't liking it too much. Bluetooth, so Bluetooth on my ThinkPad works really well, kind of, but it kind of, so like it'll work in like intermittently, but it'll work for a while and then kind of, cut out. And I don't know why that was. Bluetooth on MSI, I couldn't figure out. There was a couple of things. The audio, first of all, the audio was the part that had me kind of stumped. I'll explain this here in a minute because it's kind of funny. I had the same problem when I installed Void Linux. I'm on Void Linux right now as we speak. And so I thought that this was just a lack of support for audio or something like that. But it wasn't. It wasn't any of that. And so you could just imagine, like, the audio works almost by default out of my ThinkPad, but my MSI laptop, no. And I figured it out. I have a dual graphics card, and the audio from my NVIDIA graphics card that is different from the audio from my Intel graphics card, if that makes sense. And so I was genuinely shocked at this. And I couldn't believe it. I was just like trying to get this audio to work, but I couldn't find the audio server at all in my MSI laptop. Again, in my ThinkPad, it works out of the box. Then my dongle quit working. Well, even on Void Linux, it isn't working. So I had this same audio problem. I should back up a little bit. I'll get back to my dongle thing in a minute, but my audio, I had the same problem in Void Linux when I installed it, and I just had to kind of add like a dummy server, and when I did that, it worked, and I got this microphone to work because it was pulling from the Intel GPU. Weird. Okay, so the dongle didn't work, and so I was thinking, okay, so I'm not going to have all three screens. This is going to suck, blah, blah, blah. That was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing. Okay. And so I just kind of gave up, and here I am. So I want to tell you, though, that I do think that BSD is very compatible with certain, computers, and I think it works better than Linux. I think you should give it a try. I think you'll enjoy it. Like, most of the apps that work on Linux work in FreeBSD, and I wouldn't even be surprised if that was the case with OpenBSD or GhostBSD or whatever we're talking about. But try it out. I was really thoroughly impressed with the development, and I kind of want this back. Here's some things I did manage to get running. I managed to get Burp Manager running rather well, and I got Windows to launch, and so that was working. And I got, let's see, I set up, like your normal desktop and everything else like that. And some of that was a challenge, believe it or not. The bootloader thing sometimes is a little iffy the first time you set it up, but once you figure it out, it isn't that bad. There was a few other things that I figured out, within, fairly recent, fairly quickly. Like, I don't know if you guys remember me messing around with FreeBSD. I think it was last week or the week before, but I didn't struggle with any of it. But when I was doing it on real hardware, some of the things that I thought that I could figure out fairly easily proved to be the deal breaker. That was it. But other than that, I was kind of impressed with the whole thing. So this is the consideration, some of the considerations you should have if you're going to install FreeBSD is you should you should know if that's something that you're gonna be able to do, right? Do you have the right laptop? Do you have the right computer? Like some things just aren't gonna work quite as you expect, and sometimes you're gonna have to find some hacks or whatever. So when I had the same volume problem in Void Linux, it kind of showed me that what the issue is, and so I might try it again in the next month or two. I'm definitely open to that experience. All right, on to my next segment. Hey, let me respond to. Oh, wow. Where are my glasses? Well, I'll use these. It's a little strong, but I'll be able to read. All right. Each install is a learning experience. Minute falling. Yes. Let's see here. I'm 100% Linux mindset, but BSD is really good at networking for servers from what I've seen. Yeah, very much so, Darren. How are you, Darren? Is there any way to know if specific applications work well with FreeBSD? So that's a great question. That is such a great question. So let me tackle that one. So there's a couple of things that I realized early on. All right, you're alive and kicking. That's good. Oh, Tristan Grant. Oh, good to see you. All right. How are you, Tristan? All right. Oh, good. Good to hear it. All right. So let me attack that question. That was a great question. So there's a few things. So in FreeBSD, from what I've read, there's a thing called jails. Now, when I used FreeBSD 30 years ago, jails didn't exist that I remember. I could be wrong. And so a lot of times they'll put these jails, which is just the fancy word for a container, and they'll have like Linux apps. So like the Linux apps that require some really heavy configuration, they'll work inside of those Linux jails, from what I understand. So there are a few programs like that where it was really hard to figure out. I'm trying to think of a specific example because there was one thing that was, oh, yes, I tried to install Brave browser. It was called Linux Brave in PKG, and I just basically ran it, but it needed all the Linux infrastructure that would have been inside of a jail, what they call a jail. I could have set it up and it would have worked natively, it would have worked great. However, I didn't have the time to mess with it, so I'm not really sure. So the experience taught me, though, that some applications that are available on Linux, most of them are available on BSD, but some of them require a little more hacking than others. But if you're willing to, figure it out, and, today, you have AI and everything else, so you can come up with solutions really fast. That's a great question. All right. Let me get my geeky glasses back on. All right. And this Paul, he says it's nice to be here. Indeed it is. Thank you for the comment. And let's get back to my next segment. Guys, I don't know how to tell you guys this. Xorg is cooked. And I don't know how else to say this. It is completely cooked. What do I mean? Every time I use Xorg on Arch, Void, and a few other distros, I have less features than I did the time before. And this has been ongoing for about a year now. Recently, I spun up Arch. I tried to use nitrogen, set up a tiling window manager in, X-based tiling window manager, Spectre WM. And I got it up and running, and I got everything working fairly well. Nitrogen wasn't anywhere to be found. This used to be in the Pacman repository. It's not even in the AUR. That's bizarre. So I had to build it from source. No problem. I can build things from source all day long. I mean, honestly, that's not, you're not threatening me with, hey, you got to build your software from source. I'll do it. It's not that hard. Okay. Then I went to Void recently. Now, I had my audio issue. Okay, fine. That's not it. I was running Spectre WM, and Kitty and Alacrity don't work with or without PyCon. Now, in BSD, using Xorg, I don't know if Alacrity works, I would assume, but Kitty works. Worked great. They are stripping Xorg faster than I thought. I mean, I thought, okay, you'll probably have a year or two to figure out what you're going to do. No. I'm telling you right now, you got about 6 months. Mark my words on that. You got about 6 months to figure out what the hell you're going to do if you're an Xorg user. And I just have to say, I don't really know what the way forward is. If you have a 2-year window, you can do something. But recently there was, a bunch of, features that were literally taken out by by Red Hat, the Xorg developers, just because Wayland had contributed to them. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't know if X Libre is going to be an option. Some people say X Libre is the way forward, like the guy from GhostBSD, for example, the main developer for GhostBSD, I think it is. He's all on board with X Libre. I don't know. I honestly don't know what the way forward is at this point. And I've been trying to figure this out. I've been trying to figure out what we are going to do. And honestly, I mean, it's either use X Libre, which is completely unstable, but you might get a few extra, features here and there, but at least you won't have less features. At least it will be predictable. You might have a couple of years, but applications are just not launching with support for Xorg. I mean, I thought, okay, they'll keep the Xorg, backend that exists right now. That's what I was thinking even a month ago when I started seeing this. You know, I've seen it for a while, but when I really started hitting me that Wayland is taking over, I thought, okay, well they'll keep the Xorg on the back end for a couple of years. They took the back end out of Alacrity, the Xorg back end. They're doing it with Kitty as well. They haven't completely done it, but I honestly do not know what the way forward is. I mean, I wish I had an answer for you guys. I wish I knew. And it really pains me because, you know, I get that there is use cases for Xorg and there are use cases for Wayland. I don't hate Wayland. Folks, I think there are use cases. I personally don't want to transition yet, but I might be forced to. And it's those podwhackers from Red Hat Linux that they're like literally doing this whole thing, and it's making me laugh because it's like, oh my God, they have literally just taken over. And it's not just Red Hat. I guess I should say the freedesktop.org. Let me be more precise. But yeah, I don't know what the way forward is. And again, I see some things that are better on Wayland than Xorg. But there are features in Xorg, like network transparency, that don't work. They literally just don't. And so, or at least so I think, right? Maybe there are some workarounds to have network transparency work, because there are people who swear that network transparency works just as well on Wayland as it does on Xorg. I would be willing to take a look at it at this point, because the alternative, it's looking quite bleak. And I'm not going to lie to my audience. Like, there are YouTubers out there that are going to lie to their audience. And go, no, you can, Xorg is just fine and all of this other stuff. I literally on Void Linux, I use Spectre WM. I haven't tried DWM or anything else, but Spectre WM. Kitty and or Alacrity don't work. Now on XFCE it does. So maybe I need to update, my window manager. That would be my first guess. But I think it's just mainly, and I never had problems with this in the past, so I think it's just that Xorg is just ripping features out, and some of those features are basically pointing towards this idea that you should be using Wayland. I guarantee you a Wayland-based window manager would have zero problems with any of it. So it is what it is, folks. All right. And let's get my glasses on. I'm going to answer a few questions. Oh, cinnamon? Yeah, you're going to wait a while. Yeah. Anyway, in this next segment, which I think you're going to be rather surprised, I got a little bit of a little something. Yeah. Guess I need to find an alternative for DWM. I hear DWL is awesome. Everybody I talk to says that they like DWL better, even better than DWM. It has a lot of the same behaviors. So yeah. Um, yeah, I think that, and it's easy to set up. I mean, I've looked at it a little bit. It's easy to set up. Maybe I'll set that up, set up DWL as a tutorial sometime. That would be nice. And you know, the fact of the matter is like to me, the way forward, like if you're a desktop maintainer, the way forward I think is to okay, we can I can look into doing that. I don't know if I'll do it this week or next week, but yeah, I it's not that hard. Yeah. All right. So, I think the deal is like I was just thinking about this. XFCE, right? I think XFCE is going to be the number one desktop environment in Linux. And let me explain this. And this is kind of a way forward that I've thought should happen. They're going to Wayland. They're going to make their own window compositor for Wayland. But they also have their own backend for X11 that they're not going to touch. They're going to be updating it, obviously, but they're not going to, try to like incorporate the Xorg stuff inside of their Wayland compositor configuration or whatever. You know what I mean? I think that's a wise choice. And I think that this is a way forward, right? Honestly, Plasma should have done this. GNOME should have done this. Anyone else thinking of, migrating to Wayland needs to do something like this. I don't know if Qtile did that. That's another one that's a very good possibility of for a tutorial is Qtile. I really like it. And the Qtile Wayland, configuration is pretty badass. I'm not going to lie. So anyway, without further ado, I am going to show you guys a little something. All right, let's go into my next segment. Let's go to my desktop. All right, so you can see up top I have, what is this? D-menu. And I have a lot of remote applications that I've set up. Like, for example, if I wanted to pull up Firefox from this computer right here, it's not my laptop. The reason why I did this is because I have 40 gigabytes of RAM. Check this out. And there I am. A new browser. So what should I search for? Let's see here. All right. Let me turn this down a little bit. Okay, so I think the latency is a little bad, but I can. Okay, so let's take a look at one of my videos. Let's go here. This is a manifesto for my distro and for just a Linux desktop that actually belongs to you. I think every open source project should have a similar manifesto. There you go. I got the volume and everything to go through. this is pretty incredible, right? I can edit videos from here. So like when I'm teaching English, I have 15 gigabytes of RAM on my DDR5 RAM on my laptop. But on this computer here, I have 40 gigabytes of RAM. And so I don't have a very powerful CPU, but it's powerful enough that I can do some things with it. So I can do pretty much anything I want here from, different remote machines. And I'll just I'll kind of show you how I did this. Let me make sure I don't have anything sensitive. I don't think I do. Okay, so let's all right. All right. So here's basically here's my script. Basically pipes everything in this one directory all into D menu. And I want to do something else here while I'm at it. I think that's how you do it, right? Let's see. Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. So I made a small improvement. So let's go into, again, I don't think I have anything sensitive here, but I just want to just make sure. So then good. All right. Okay. So basically, I have like all of my remote. Hey, Ethan, how are you? So anyway, I have all of my remote applications, right, that are coming from this computer. I have Firefox, GIMP, Kdenlive, Thunar, and Burp Manager. More to come, I promise. Yeah, I have a few more to come. So let's take a look at it. This is basically, so I have a remote host and a virtual host. And there's a lot of things going on here that I'm not really going to explain, but basically, this looks inside of my SSH file. I have X11 forwarding enabled and stuff like that, and a lot of other things that allow me to run my run my application from a remote machine. And there's a lot of optimizations, and that's pretty much it. So for example, I put it to an alias, not an alias, but a key binding. So now I can like open up GIMP, for example. So like you can see where we'll open this. Not that I need to, but, and then I can always just close it. And anyway, this is X11 forwarding. But I want to kind of explain, because I think a lot of people will get hung up, and there's a number of reasons why. Okay, so I need to kind of explain how to do this, because all of the tutorials that I saw with this was what didn't work very well. So basically what you'll do is you have to enable X11 forwarding for this to work. Easy enough. And you enable X11 forwarding on, I think it's both machines if I'm not mistaken, and then whatever. Anyway, you connect your computer SSH, so the one that you're launching your applications from, to your host SSH. So they have to connect, right? So you have to basically, if you know anything about SSH, you have the what they call the promise, I think it's called. So like it's the so they'll send like something that's encrypted, and only if you have the promise will you be able to unlock it, basically. So you're basically making that promise, you're basically sending that promise to your SSH. I have some notes on this, by the way. And then if you do it right, like, so let me see here. If you do it right, so like there's things like this. This is where you would enable forwarding. Hold on. Oh, and there's something with XOF that you have to kind of set up as well. Yeah. All right, so I'll show you here. So basically it would be right here. Okay, so you are basically going to SSH into, so this 192.168.1.10, that is basically like your other computer, right? Your backup. And so basically what you're going to do is SSH into it. You're going to cat all the information from your host machine and send it to your authorized keys, and then you'll change the user permissions, and then you should be able to run this command, the ssh-t user at 192.168.1.10. It's whatever IPA that your other computer has, obviously. And you're basically going to basically connect to your host machine, and then after that all you have to do is set up your password one last time. Then you don't need a password after that, and it's so easy to set up. And that's kind of how this works. It's also, you have to put this in your .ssh config inside your host machine, and then yeah, you should be able to, at that point, be able to get everything running and that sort of thing. It's actually a lot easier than even it sounds. It was really easy for me to figure it out, okay? It wasn't science, it wasn't that hard to set up. So anyway, then after that, you just write your scripts for network transparent apps, which is what I did. And just pipe it all to D menu, and you should be good to go. That's what I did. And so now when I put a key binding here, and so now I can do something like this. So this is the other machine, right? You know, and so I'll be able to do a lot of really interesting things with this. And again, I'm really interested to see if I can do this on Wayland. Because you saw it, like the volume transferred over when I played the video. Had a little bit of latency, but it was okay. I'm kind of wondering, like, this is some pretty cool stuff here, if I do say so myself. And I can probably get it, you know, different computers to launch different things and that sort of thing. So anyway, it's kind of hard to explain, you know, with, you know, a lot of clarity, you know, the steps that are involved. But I have this markdown file. I'll post it somewhere. Probably Discord and a few other things. But anyway, it's really cool to, you know, to mess with and that sort of thing. Yeah. So now network transparency is one of those things that, you know, supposedly Wayland can't do, but I actually want to see if I can't do it. This was really cool to set up. And like I said, it took me all of about 1 hour to set all that up. Like maybe less. Very easy. Nothing too over the top. All right, let's look at the comments here. I'm sorry, I don't have the normal browser that I normally have. So I have to kind of turn my head a little bit. Okay. So FreeBSD is amazing. Yes, it is. I use GhostBSD and it is awesome. I couldn't agree more. No one said FreeBSD isn't awesome. Yeah, exactly. So I guess he said, I'm reacting to the title. And then somebody said very neat, as far as like what I was, you know, showing the demonstration of network, network transparency. I will probably do a tutorial on how to do this, because I actually think that this is a tutorial that would be worth it. Because actually there isn't any tutorials on how to set it up to where like things, you know, run from a menu kind of thing. So yeah, I might actually do it. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it is cool, and that one is especially cool, and I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that tutorial maybe within the next week or two. I really enjoyed setting that up. So, what do you guys think about that? Is that a feature that you would use? Let me know in the comments section below. All right. And now we're going to do the last one, the myth of the week. Oh, Jesus, guys. I don't even know where to begin. So I saw all of these vlogs, and, a bunch of AI slop basically saying that Linux is somehow the default OS for Lenovo laptops. Okay. Except there is no credible sources for this. And in fact, it seems like you have a choice of which operating system to choose from, but I'll get there. But basically, their videos that I've seen boil down to Linux is the default OS on Lenovo. Customers have reported, or that Lenovo has reported less returns when using a Linux versus Windows. And that they made this big decision, this corporate decision, just to include Linux. And if you wanted Windows, then it would cost extra to have extra support. Like they were going to charge extra for all the extra support they were going to have to render. I've been seeing this ad nauseum all over the internet, and I must say it's a load of bullshit. That is not what's going on. I haven't found any credible sources to corroborate that at all. I've looked. Okay. Here's the thing. Lenovo doesn't charge extra if you're using Linux like most other brands do. Let me kind of rephrase that. So anyway, let me rephrase that. So basically, Lenovo, when you order a laptop with Windows on it, they just tack on the licensing fee for that laptop. That's it. And if you don't want Windows, then they don't they don't tack that they give you the extra savings if you use Linux instead of Windows. That's what's going on. And it's so funny because a lot of these people are like, oh yeah, they're charging you to use Windows. This is what they're saying, it's a bunch of nonsense. That's not what's going on. The simple fact of the matter is a real story is probably even more interesting. For example, Lenovo and IBM have contributed to Linux since the late 1990s. And back in, I think it was like 2013, they committed to invest billions of dollars into the Linux kernel. Billions. Why? Well, because they have a self-interest. Now, they own Red Hat, so now they really have they're like 2013. Like, this is a little after I started using Linux. This is like 3 or 4 years after I started using Linux. They, basically committed to, investing all of these billions of dollars. And that's become even more true since IBM has bought Red Hat Linux. So this is really interesting. I don't doubt that there would be less customer returns from Linux laptops than Windows laptops using the same exact hardware. I wouldn't doubt that. Although I couldn't find any reliable source for that. If you can find it, please let me know, because I'm all ears. I would really like to think that's true, but unfortunately, I have yet to find any credible sources, but I could see it. But now the real story is, when I started using Linux, nobody had Linux support, including Lenovo. Okay? Now, ThinkPads worked, Linux worked pretty good on Lenovo laptops back, in 2009, 2010. True enough. But it wasn't like it had the greatest support. Sometimes you had to find workarounds. Sometimes there were things that happened. Oh my God. The incompatibility with Linux was truly spectacular. And now every major brand has the option to come with Linux pre-installed. Either Ubuntu, Fedora, or OpenSUSE, usually. That's amazing. Like, that would have never happened in a million years. But now, this is a reality for us. And I don't know. Like, it's pretty cool on one hand, and on the other hand, there's all this money being thrown at problems that don't exist, like, like dbus, like, everything has to go through dbus now, even on FreeBSD, right? Everything has to, like, work, basically be this well-oiled machine to where, like, everything works better than it works on Windows. Which is fine. I don't mind. I just think that you should design things the correct way the first time. Unfortunately, that's not what's happening these days. But we have these major laptops from every major brand coming with Linux, guys. That was a pipe dream 10 years ago. Yeah, there were laptops that came pre-installed with Linux, but they were few and far between. I mean, who remembers that Ubuntu video? I've shown it here a few times, where this girl ordered a Dell laptop that was pre-installed with Ubuntu, and she's like, I can't put my disk in to make my Wi-Fi work. Remember that? I'm just so sick of it because there's just not that much upstairs. You remember that? You remember that lady? And then, like, the local news person kind of talked to the school, talked to her, tried to, basically said she can go to school with what she has. It'll all work out. Yeah. Anyway, Ubuntu came pre-installed with a few laptops, but it wasn't like every major brand was jumping up and down to use Linux. And it didn't look like, honestly, that you were going to have great support for Linux. Now Linux works on everything. I think that is the miracle, right? Like, honestly, FreeBSD doesn't work on everything. I think it's better designed, but they don't have enough in their kernel, like, they don't have enough kernel support. And obviously, I think Linux adapts better to other, other systems. So it's, even though, as much as I like FreeBSD, I have to admit that Linux is pretty freaking cool. And the more I do these deep dives, the more I realize just how cool Linux is. All right, and then, right now, I'll tell you, things like gaming, audio recording, video editing, all of these things are actually kind of taken seriously now, where before they weren't taken seriously. They're like, oh yeah, you use GIMP. You know, what are you gonna use, man? GIMP. Oh yeah, what are you gonna do? Play your Atari on Linux, man? Like these were the things that were said back in the day. And if you don't remember this, I just gotta tell you, man. Um, I remember this quite vividly. People would tell me, "What are you gonna do, man?" Yeah. So the real story, again, is so much more interesting. And the simple fact of the matter is, this is seriously a myth. Um, Linux is not the default OS for Lenovo laptops. It's just not true. Let's just take a look at it, shall we? Let's see here. I believe in testing things. All right. So anyway, I have a few. So like there's all these, posts that sorry. There's all these posts here. Oh wow, Linux becomes the default OS. Historical shift to Linux as default OS challenges. Lenovo has chosen Linux as default OS. Frustrating that finally somebody says the real thing. It's frustrating that Linux. I know, or Lenovo. Sorry, I know this is where these threads came from. Right here, probably from Hacker News. Frustrating that Lenovo do not. Let me make this bigger. That's too small even for me. All right, frustrating that Lenovo do not offer Linux as a default OS choice. I think Lenovo wanted to get out from under Windows boot themselves, but they seem not to be advancing that possibility. They don't. Ubuntu works out of the box, and I thought you have the boot option or you have the option to have some Lenovo's installed with Ubuntu. Ubuntu as a release. So basically, this guy makes this comment, and then somebody basically writes some AI slop, puts it, make some vlogs and some videos, basically saying, see, there it is, man. Yes, Lenovo has chose Linux as its default OS, man. It's a bunch of nonsense. Oh, and then so let's go to like a ThinkPad, right? So let's see here. This is interesting. ThinkPad. All right. All right. I'm looking at this really quick like. Oh, right here. Okay, so look here. Windows 11 Pro, Home, Ubuntu Linux, Fedora Linux. So these are your operating systems right here. Okay. Intel Arc okay. So basically, this is just a brand new X1 Carbon, which I'm thinking of ordering. I'm probably going to buy to install FreeBSD, maybe something like that. I don't know. Or I'll find something a little older and just soup it up and put a bunch of memory in it. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but yeah, kind of interesting. But like I said, it's a load of garbage, and I don't have any evidence otherwise. So there's that, right? And so anyway, let's look at another one. These are the ThinkPads, okay? What about, that's probably the other one that's a really good Linux laptop would be an IdeaPad. So let's see here. Let's see. Oh, okay. Let's see, is there any good IdeaPads? Oh, wait, let's look at this AMD one. That's interesting. I always like. Let's look at it. Okay, we have optional operating system, no Linux. Now, IdeaPads, like I have an IdeaPad right here, an older one, like a second or third generation i7. But this one doesn't come pre-installed with Linux. So they're not making this move. This is a bunch of bullshit. Again, it's not true. And I don't know who runs this AI slop. It's just, unfortunately, it just isn't true. And no amount of gaslighting or anything else will make it true. A lot of people just wanted, I guess, some views or clicks or something, and it worked. I clicked on it. It's just not true. That is the myth of the week. All right, let's get back to the chat. Hey, buddy, are you still working on your dev1 script? And is there going to be an install script for FreeBSD? I don't know that yet on either one. No, I'm not. I don't know. I might be working on dev1. I might go back there. That's actually a possibility that I see in my future if I don't go back to FreeBSD. No. FreeBSD will never come pre-installed on anything, I don't think. I will never return to Windows. I did install Windows 11 latest on a virtual machine only, and while it took 2 hours to install. Well, yeah, that's a lot. It didn't take me 2 hours, so I don't know what you did wrong. I do have Windows in a virtual machine, so yeah. I have to use it for my day job. I wish I didn't, though. It gave it 8 cores and 32 gigabytes of RAM. Well, that's a lot of RAM. I only have like, I think I have 8 gigabytes of RAM right now. Yes, I just was wondering if you were still working on FreeBSD, if there's anything bash script to install on a fresh BSD, if you were still in your dev. Okay, yeah, I already answered that. Dreamer! Alright, nice to hear from you. Smile. Face. Devel. Yes, okay. Well, I might take the time for them to get stuff switched over. Depends on where in the world stuff deals with other countries out of the US. Okay. And maybe I gave Windows too much memory. Yeah, right? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what you did because here, I'll show you. I can literally, that's the cool thing about this. All right, let's open this. So here. So how many CPUs did I gave it 6 CPUs and 8 gigabytes of RAM. And it works just fine. Let me see. Well, how much memory am I? Let me see here. If I can type 4 gigabytes, I should be okay. I'm just going to use it for a minute. I'm not. Okay, no problem. This is going to go way up. Okay, here we are. A little like... No, you're fine, Ethan. All right, and here's my Windows virtual machine. And there I am. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down because, yeah. But it works. Okay. Very good. So, yeah. The thing is, I'm screencasting at the same time, and I only have 15 gigabytes of RAM on this machine, and so it was basically running pretty heavy on that. But yes, it works. And yeah, it took about 10 minutes to install, 10 or 15. But yeah. And my volume passes through, my cameras pass through, everything. So it's actually a pretty awesome experience with Vert Manager. So totally check it out. Anyway, yes. All right, Ethan. It's all good. I'm not. I wasn't angry or anything. You don't have to worry about it. I'm not going to get angry with you. All right. You're good. All right. All righty. We've been at this for a little over an hour. I got something special for you. Oh yeah. Right. I knew there was a reason why I opened up Vert Manager, right? All right. Let's get into it, shall we? Add a new one. Oh, why am I? Oh, storage. Sorry. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Wow. All right. This is based on Gen 2 Linux. Oh, fuck me. I keep doing, oh my, oh my, oh my. Alright. I had this happen just the other day too. I'm gonna have to fix this permanently. Hmm. Like I said, I just got the system up and running. Let's see here. I think I just remember that all right. Let's say no. Okay, maybe it was Claude. I tend to trust Claude AI a little bit more than I trust ChatGPT for coding things anyway. All right, let's see here. So it probably is that right there. Okay. I think it's this one right here. Damn it. Let me see here. I'm going to put that always on top. Oh, all right. So probably this one then. Okay, they all exist. Let's try this. I'm having a hard time with this. I'm not sure why. No. All right, let's make sure everything's up. Okay. right, there's the problem. I thought it was libvirt. Now everything should be up. Yeah, sometimes. Okay. Will this work now? I don't think Birch was it. Fuck me. Try that again. What the fuck is this? Alright, let's see here. Alright. This is interesting. Oh, okay. No problem. Alright, so now that should work. Let's see. Okay. Let's try this again. There we go. All right. So it was just that I didn't have that service. Okay, good. Okay, here we go. Let's give it like 5 cores. I think maybe 20 gigs. Good. I think I might want to customize this. I think it's that one. All right, now I should be able to begin installation. Wait, what the hell? I don't want that. I don't have an XML bridge. What the fuck? Jesus, this has never been any. Jeez. Where's the bridge? Oh shit, that's. I see what you're saying. Okay, you're saying. Huh. Here's that one. Let's see here. Let's just do this. Can I just do that? There's no bridge. So. Oh, this. Where's the bridge? No bridge there. No bridge there. Man, this was not. Oh my god. Well, that's what I was thinking, but I. This is weird. I've never ran into this problem ever. Here's a note. Oh shit! There we go. There we go. I got it. All right. A fucking bridge device. Try that. Okay. Oh, I know what. Okay, hold on. I think I know what this is. Because you have in Void Linux, you have to do everything by hand. Okay, no problem. That's what they're gonna make me do. No problem. I think I figured this out actually. Well, not. Oh, okay. Uh-huh. All right, so. Yes, I understand that. Okay. I got all of that. Okay. Oh shit. That's not what I meant. Should be it there. One, right? Yeah. And, so glad this would have taken me a couple of days to figure out. Oh my god. Where can I get this here? I okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Can't. Oh. All right, let's do that. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. All right, let's go back to these freaking questions. All right. I don't know how clear that's going to be. Let me know. If you need it clearer, I can do that. Okay. It's going to be a little slower. Oh, there we go. All right. Ow. I don't know why that. All right. Let me, no. Let's give me a good display size. All right. Very good. All right. There we go. So let's see here. Oh, network bridge. Yes. Okay. This theme title. No doubt. All right. All right. What something Narf 1010? Yeah, go play with your little toy or whatever. No problem. Yeah. So we got this up. Let's go ahead and install this bad boy, shall we? Looks like I am in English. Mexico City. Wow. Good English. Disk. Ooh, praise the Lord. Hold on. Let's go back. Let's what do we have here? Wow. I'm just gonna go with that. Hell. Alright. And my super complicated password. I did not expect to struggle that much with my virtual machine. That was wow. I thought it was all set up. I honestly did because I installed Windows, without any problems. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So I do want to fix this a little bit. Nothing like having it run off the page, right? So let's just go like that. That's a little bit better. All right. Yeah, you're a real power user using Dev1. Oh, anyway. All right. Sorry about all the confusion. That took me a few minutes to figure out. I did not expect that much of a hassle, to be honest. Yeah, pretty crazy. But, I mean, it is part of the experience with open source, right? Sometimes this is going to take a couple of minutes, so I am. Oh, wow, this is going a little faster than I thought. I'm actually thinking, though, that I'm not sure. It's a Gen 2 spin, yeah. But it's a little bit more than that. It's kind of like it has a lot of cloud native type stuff. That's a good question. Maybe Neri. I really want to, I know network transparency and other features are work in Wayland. You just have to figure it out. So anyway, part of this experience has been just doing some of the deep dives in Xorg to kind of get a feel so that I can legitimately give a comparison when I do eventually set it up. I think that is a worthwhile video to make. I think a lot of people, if they have the right information, they're going to make the right choices. The problem is you got a lot of nonsense on the internet, and a lot of people, there's a lot of people who say, no, man, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, I'm going to see it, I'm going to make a real life comparison and say, yeah, okay, here's your argument, and here's some of your arguments, and, and here's how they actually work. So, I actually am not against setting up Wayland in any sense. So yeah, I'm probably how would I set it up? I don't know. What would I use? I'd probably use like a few come to mind. Qtile, DWL, and Neri. They're the ones that come to mind, and I probably come up with something on my own as well. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna make some developers cry. Yeah, that's the whole part of my channel is like I'm not going to be handheld by anyone. I'm gonna be straight up and honest with everybody. And I think both sides are talking past each other instead of finding a solution to some of these problems, because I do think the problems are real. The problems that people outline are real, they're not made up. But the main problem here is that it basically, everybody's talking past each other. It's just, that's what's going on in the world today. Everyone's talking past each other. They're actually not talking with each other. You see it in politics, you see it in, pretty much every area of life, whether or not you're talking, social issues, whether you're talking religion. Yeah, it is a pretty fast distro. I really like it, actually. All right. Now I remember we got the manual, right? Maybe? Do they have a, well, comes with the manual, but I can't read it. Yeah, I probably can open it. Let's see if I can open it with Firefox. Ooh, there we go. Oh, fuck me. It's a PDF, right? Okay. How are you gonna do an XD? Oh, all right. There we go. All right. I did have the developer chatting with me on one live stream not too long ago. Okay, so it uses Luet as its package manager to deliver software self-contained layers, making installation upgrades as simple as possible. So we have some documentation. Welcome to the This is definitely like a very interesting way of doing things. And actually, I actually think this is probably my favorite, right? Mm. Wide desktop environment support, Genomic SFC, Hyperland, and more. Gaming ready out of the box, Steam, game mode, VK Basalt, Proton support, whoever. Vaho, alright. Back snap, app images, white. Why? Why, God? Why? Why do you have to ruin this desktop with snap packs? Come on, man. App images, I get it, but this was derived from Sabian. I remember Sabian back in the day. And what do you need? What do you need after a Sabian? This is what the developer told me. You need a mochaccino. How's that? All right. So anyway, user. why MOS desktop is different. From a developer standpoint, MOS takes a unique approach on package building, allowing developers to iterate locally changes to packages easily using Docker to build the packages locally or Kubernetes in a cluster. Wow. We all hate snap packs. I do too, but like you know like I have OBS sometimes. It's just better on like either snaps, flat packs, or app images. It just is. Unless I want to take the 2 weeks it takes to download it from source. Usually it takes about 2 weeks to figure it out, something like that. I don't know. Maybe I should try it again because I've done it before. All right, I've already done all that. We got Cosmic. We got Fluxbox guy. Ooh, we got Trinity. Ooh. I wonder if they have something better. Okay. So let's see here. Does it? Okay. Wait, hold on. I don't think that would be layers, will it? Oh, maybe. Let's see if it has my favorite desktop. Let's see if it's there. No, no, there's no. All right. I love that. I like Flexbox. Kind of. Probably don't. All right. So I got to build some things from source. We got Slam. All right. Uninstall, upgrade, search. Oh, good. So we let's see. Nothing. All right. Awesome. Hmm. I mean, these are things I could easily install from source. All right. How about exploring that? No X window managers. All right. How about Neary? Hmm. Oh, okay. Maybe it's layers. Hmm. supposedly it's here. Does this query... Alright, well, let's see, sudo repo date. Oh, bloat. Alright. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder, oh my God. All right. I'm trying to like figure out how this is working. So the search query doesn't seem to really work. Oh, wait, hold on. No? I thought, okay. Wow, this is interesting. I'm not sure why I can't search. Huh. Oh, let's go ahead and try that. Sudo. When I'm being like completely rude here, maybe I should, right there, come over here. All right. Yeah. All right, much better. Yeah, Darren, I'm kind of old-fashioned too. That's why I was trying FreeBSD, because I don't like the directions that we're going in a lot of ways. All right, let's see here. So supposedly I can guys back to W. All right, that did not work. All right. Okay, so this is a little buggy, but it's interesting. So let's see, Hyperland. I guess supposedly, okay. Oh, I see. Okay. So layers. Layers. All right. Oh, layers. All right. A lot of firmware. We got Wayfire, KMU, Sway. I would hate to use Sway. I hate i3. I've always hated i3. What's the Pangolin desktop? I've never heard of it. Is it worth checking out? I wonder. All right. Okay. So I think probably I'm gonna have to add something. All right. I'm just taking a look at this before I do anything, because oh, we have a menu. Uh-huh. All right, so we're updating repos. This is interesting. All right, so now we might have something more. So, no, not really. Same thing. So if I said all right, we got Firefox, Spice, App Armor, Slim, Node.js, blah, blah, blah. All right, Burp Manager, LightDM, Luet, something, Go Launcher. Anyway, let's continue on. Then what do I just like? No. Wow. All right. Very good. So we could do something like sudo let repo list. All right. All right, let's do this one right here. Why do I always come up with that? All right. All right, there we go. Mm. Oh, you know what? Before I forget. Gotta take my meds. All right. Care about any of that. Why would you want to share your files on Samba? No idea. Yeah, there you go. SFTP, baby. Um, good deal. Good stuff. So. All right. Oh, this is interesting. Let me get this. Minus kernel. Hmm. So you can switch kernels, although for whatever reason. All right, so now you should be able to just do sudo luet install. All right. Wow. Okay, so now let's go back up here. There's not, okay. Okay, so now let's go to search hyperlink. See if that starts to work now. Or let's do layers. There we go. Finally got something. KEMU. Go firmware. X. Firmware. Find desk. I don't know what that is, but okay. Oh, you probably a desktop environment. Layers, Qt, firmware. Okay. Just trying to see if there's anything extra here. Now, a lot of this stuff, this is interesting. They added some codecs to basically strip it out of the kernel and keep it a little lighter, I think. Which is actually, if that's what they did, it's very smart. I think that's the way to go, you know. Just have enough to basically run most Wi-Fi and Ethernet. And then, yeah, that's probably a good way to do that. A lot of firmware. Sway, the worst window manager ever. And people who, you can argue with me, you can fight with me, I'm telling you, Wayfire is good. Yeah, I like Wayfire. I'd like to use that. Have wobbly windows, man. KDE apps, minimal. All right. Dun, dun. Qtile, there we go. I'm feeling it. System X develop. Oof. Firmware, okay. Cinnamon. WM. Ooh. Now we're getting somewhere. Alex QT. CIS. Firmware. Oh, yeah. Okay. You can flex backs, man. Love me some flex backs. Really not trying to do anything like any extra special configurations. I'm just taking a look at it. It supposedly has some new features and stuff. GNOME coming in. Firmware. Yeah, right. Yeah, I totally understand. I think some of the effects are kind of boring, but I mean, I have to admit, like, you know, some of the, like, I can't, I have to turn off all the effects on, like, virtual boxes and stuff, but yeah, they're pretty cool, like, sometimes. And I'll admit, Wayfire is better than Comp is. Although Comp is was pretty freaking cool. I'm wondering what Spatry is saying about Xorg right now, or Wayland. He's got to be losing his freaking mind. I wonder if Spatry went back to Windows when Wayland came around. I mean, because he doesn't have, like, he's technically, like, not there. All right. Wow, really cool stuff here for Mokashino. I actually think that I want to do some deep dives into this, spend a little bit more time, that sort of thing. How long have I been here? 2 hours? All right. Well, I'll just hang out for a few more minutes. Really good stuff here all around. And let's go ahead and shut that down. Yeah. Wow, my first show, it went better than I thought it would. It's a lot easier to, I don't know how many of these I'll be able to, oh, sorry, let me finish that thought. It's a lot easier to just do one show every week and then cut them up into videos, I think. And, it also gives me a lot of extra video ideas. So it'd be really easy uh, to actually make. So there's that. My wife is going to walk in the door at any minute right now. And yeah, anyway, I wanted to talk about a little something something. All right, so here's a few things. Let's see, I'm gonna go to my posts. Okay, I put out a poll. I think that I am going to be moving away from my Discord server fairly soon, within the next month. I'll have an IRC channel and a Matrix channel, and I'm going to make some content on that. And so I'm leaving Discord. I'm pretty much leaving all of social media. I'm just going to stay off of social media for right now. And I have a lot of reasons for why I want to do this, but I don't like the surveillance state. I don't like the Palantir bull crap. I don't like the lies that they're telling me. I mean, there's so many lies right now. If you, I mean, right now in the US, we just struck Iran. We're at war with Iran. And God only knows how long we will be at war with Iran, because it seems like Israel finally got what it wanted. I'm sorry, and the biggest donor to Donald Trump And the biggest donor to a lot of Democrats right now is Palantir. They want a surveillance state. And they want all of our software locked down. They want to kneecap free and open source software. I mean, right now, I didn't get a chance to do the deep dive on this, but some of the hardware for some of our 3D printers, the state of California basically just gave the stiff middle finger to the open source community. And of course, the hardware manufacturers just sucked it up. They didn't fight for us. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, you want these you know you want these violations of open source. There you go. And the state of California has always been hostile to open source. As far as I can remember, they are extremely hostile. So is Germany, right? And it's like, I don't know, sometimes Germany will do it, or sometimes California will do something that is a violation of open source norms, and then all these other countries follow suit. This is my thought process anyway. And again, I want to do a proper deep dive on this issue because it is a very important issue that I think we're gonna have to tackle. And I don't have all the answers to it, but one of the things I can do is just drop my social media. And maybe it's that we have to do everything, without all the surveillance. Soon as Matrix decides they're gonna do, like, I don't think they can, obligate people to, basically upload a copy of like their driver's license or take a facial picture or something like this, right? And with the surveillance state, it's not like it's a big deal with Discord. Like when I go back to the US and I fly in through LA, what happens? Well, I get my face scanned. I mean, they don't even have a regular person when you go into customs anymore. You get your face scanned, you walk through, and you walk through this threshold. You get your bags, you walk through this threshold, and then if nobody stops you in this threshold, and they never really stop very many people, then you just basically recheck your bags, go back through security again, and then you just continue on to your gate. That's what happens, right? And my face gets scanned. My face gets recorded everywhere I go in the United States, for the most part, if I'm in a big city. Like it's scanned everywhere. They're scanned at the street lights. They're scanned, and they may not have the best resolution, so they may not know it's me at the street light all the time, but sometimes they probably do. Sometimes they probably get a good, when I go to a hotel, there's all these cameras that are kind of linked in tandem with one another. And this is part of where Palantir comes in. And I don't think me uploading my face on Discord is a big deal. However, I want to avoid it. Now, I don't know. Are they going to make me do this on YouTube? I mean, they already have my information. Like, I don't know, like how comfortable I am with a lot of this stuff. And it's not because like I'm some sort of conspiracy theorist. I I want to uh, I personally just want to have my freedom. Now, if somebody records me in public, I have no expectation of privacy, right? I get it, and that's legal, right? And I'm not against that. You want to record me in public without my consent? I don't care. However, there's other things that I think are just a little invasive, and I just don't want to. I don't want to participate in. Um, I'm probably just gonna stop using Facebook. Probably gonna stop using Instagram, Blue Sky, all of those platforms because I just don't want to deal with it. But I don't know. Again, I'm still thinking this through. There's still some developments going on where I'm really curious to see how it's going to roll out. But from what I understand, Palantir just basically wants a huge database on everyone so that they can use the biometric data to track people down. Dude, I have no doubt that if I had like the biometric data that they would like, would the Trump administration hunt me down? Oh, you bet your ass they would. I mean, they're a bunch of Nazis. I'm sorry, that's just, there's no other word to describe what they're doing today. It's like, you know, I swear to God, everything that I read about World War II seems to be happening in America today. And I say this as someone who's lived abroad for 27 years. And so, again, that's what concerns me. Have I done anything illegal? No. Have I advocated for violence? No. But I've said things publicly that people really dislike. And, you know, I'm an equal opportunity asshole. You can see it. You can see it on my Discord server, right? I'm playing to my own tune. You saw Felipe Contreras. He was in my Discord server or my Discord channel for about 2 or 3 days, and then he just absconded. Why? Because I'm not going to sit there and play favorites on either side of computers or any side of like politics. You know, all the sides are just talking past each other. That's all they're doing. And then we're just left like in the middle of it, and we're just like left with our dicks in our hand. You know, and that's all that's happening right now. Because there's a whole bunch of people like me who is like somewhere in the middle. I'm not one extreme or the other. I just want to know what's true. I want that with computers. I want like what's going on with Linux. I want to know what's true about all of these things. And it seems to me that everybody's just talking past each other. You have the Brian Lundukes of the world, and it's like, oh my God, there's this huge LGBTQ conspiracy, you know, with Red Hat, freedesktop.org, and they're trying to take over the Linux kernel and this Wayland thing. Yeah, they're not, everybody's just not having it, whatever. And so he has this narrative, and then everybody reacts to everything he says. They talk past like the legitimate points that he makes, which there are a few. But most of what Brian Lunduke is doing is just rage bait, just classical rage bait. And then there's the other side. If you talk to like Nico Loves Linux and listen to how he talks about, and I'm going somewhere with this. You listen to how he talks about Xorg, and more specifically Ex Libre. His understanding of what Weigelt was trying to do is deeply flawed, to just put it mildly. Now, I like Nico, okay? I think he's a nice kid, all right. But in tech, we're talking past each other. With this thing with surveillance, we're talking past each other. Everybody is, giving excuses for anything bad happening in the world, anything bad happening in tech, anything. And the one thing is with some of this surveillance, yes, very good point. Very good point. Yeah, I don't think Lunduke believes everything he says either. And anyway, I'm coming back to this point where, all right, everybody's talking past each other in every area, right? So my little corner of the world, my little corner in tech, I want to shoot straight with people, have the integrity to shoot straight and not bend the knee to anyone. The other thing, this is the most important thing, I don't want to talk past anyone. I don't care if you're a GNOME user, I don't want to talk past you. I don't care if you're a GNOME developer, a Red Hat developer, or some of the people that I've historically disliked. I don't want to talk past anyone anymore. Now, coming back to the Palantir thing, I'm just uncomfortable with, and I know I'm ranting a little bit, but I'm really uncomfortable because publicly I say a lot of things. I've said things publicly about Donald Trump. Yes, I do think he's a child molester. I just do. I think how Donald Trump is not in prison is beyond me. That's what I think. I think he's a Chester. Okay? I don't know that. I'm not affirming that. I think that. Okay? I know he is a criminal. And there are some nuances behind his criminality where it seems like there's some things he's trying to do. Like, for example, I live in Mexico, and the whole deal in Mexico is a complete shit show. I love this country. This country has given me so much. And it's given me such a profound perspective on the world that, if I would have stayed in Alaska, I'd probably be like most of the conspiracy theorists that I grew up with. But living in Mexico for 27 years of my life has given me some depth, some understanding. Right now, you know, like they took out El Mincho just as last week. Oh my God, that was a shit show and a half. My wife went to work on Sunday and she just started seeing everything go up in smoke. They basically just, uh, went to the good side of town, just started lighting things on fire. And, you know, they didn't target civilians. CJ and G, or CG and J did not um, target civilians. This is a whole nother topic. I'm going somewhere with this too. I say things to my friends. I say things with my dad. I say things publicly. And, with this volunteer thing, um, they could come get me. Maybe not Mexico, but with some of this stuff, they could track me down, use my biometric data from my social media. That's just one area, though. They can use my biometric data, like when I come into the country, right? Like, there's all kinds of things that they can use. And the thing is the only thing that I'm trying to get across is, like, when I sit there and talk to my friends and say, look, man, nothing is as it seems. You may think you have the skinny on X, Y, and Z. You might think you got the whole story. I guarantee you there are rabbit holes. Rabbit holes that of things that you know nothing about. Like, I live in Mexico. I know some things about the cartel. I know things about the cartel the average person doesn't. I know who my local plaza is, or are, I should say. I know who they are. I don't mess with them. They don't mess with me. It's all good. But I know who they are. I have an idea of how they operate. Do I know every single detail? No, probably not. Anyway, back to my point though, is there's nuances that I know. And so when I sit there and talk to my friends, I'm like, look, man, there's a lot of things going on that just aren't adding up. And I say something about Donald Trump or J.D. Vance, the biggest blowhard I've ever seen in my life. They can come get me. And so, like, if I can minimize the exposure, I think it's worthwhile. And I think people can't really appreciate that very much, right? And so let's get back to the chat here. I think we need to go back to the old internet way. Everyone sees their own websites and forums. Yes. And I think that we should start like doing like online mailing lists and stuff. I think those, you have like the Linux kernel mailing list that's online. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I doubt Trump isn't in prison because of money. Yeah. But a while back he was broke. He should have went to prison. Like, it's beyond me how he keeps getting away from it. But all it takes is a couple of people to start singing like a canary. Like some of the people that have been arrested in Europe. What if they start singing like a canary and say, well, okay, maybe I touched a little girl or I did this, but Trump, he was raping them by the dozens or something. That would hopefully get people to have to act. But you know what? I think the Epstein files is going to be irrelevant because as horrible as I hate to say that, this war with Iran is going to be so unpopular that it's probably going to out about 30 or 40% of our politicians in the US, at least 20. And if that happens, you've just changed the country fundamentally. So I think we might be in a good place. But anyway, I have a sneaky suspicion that Trump is the one thing that he's done is he's basically removed or made certain people in the media irrelevant. And that's the best thing that could have happened. But anyway, it is what it is. Anyway, I think that's about it for today. I've been here for almost 3 hours. I can't believe it. Anyway, and if I stick around, I'll be just rambling on. So I wanted to see some things here. Let's see. Let's take a look at my... A lot of people like the idea of my live show. So yeah, but here's what won out in the I got a little bit from Substack, a little love from Matrix. I don't know what my neighbor is pouring up above me, but every afternoon they're pouring something. I'm always worried that, never mind. Anyway, that's what that noise is if you hear it. So anyway, that's my first episode, and next week I'll probably have it a little better polished, and I just had a lot going on this week, and so anyway, hopefully everybody enjoyed this first show, the Unix Mindset. Oh, I almost forgot. There's a couple other announcements before I go anywhere. All right. So today is what? Almost, it's the 28th of March, right? So tomorrow's 28th of February, sorry. And so tomorrow's March 1st. Around the 1st of June, oh, that's good. Okay, so anyway, yeah, it's good there is a very loud. Very good. So I got just one last announcement. Around the 1st of June, I am going to go to Alaska to go to work. If you guys don't know, I am disabled, but I think I could do this. I think I can work in a cannery. I worked in a fish cannery as a teenager and young adult, and it really changed my life. The kind of money I was able to save really put me in a unique position. And so, anyway, they're going to pay me $20 an hour, $38 an hour overtime. And it's quick money to basically continue doing some of this hacking or whatever you want to call it. So that's what I'm going to do most likely for about 3 or 4 months coming up. I am coming back though to my channel and everything else, and I'll probably put on content while I'm in Alaska. I want to let everybody know way ahead of time that I am planning on going to Alaska. The other thing is, I just want to end this. If you got the idea that I was just going to shit can BSD, you would be wrong. So I have some Bluetooth issues. I'm kind of working through them through the code, and I'll be submitting fixes to FreeBSD. I've already talked to a couple of people about it, and they basically acknowledge the same thing. It is a good opportunity. I honestly, I need about $40,000. Um, like, yeah, and so that will definitely get me up there. But again, I when I'm there, I think I'll probably still do some tutorials and stuff like that. So anyway, um, back to the BSD thing. Sorry, I look at the chat and then get get distracted. Sorry. Um, so I'm going to be adding some support to Bluetooth, and I have a few devices I might be adding to the FreeBSD project. And when that Bluetooth works, I think I might actually be able to legitimately switch over. Some of the other issues were pretty much a non-issue. Like, I think I acted a little too much in haste. So that's pretty much it for today. I've been here for 2 hours and 50 minutes. I haven't seen Ben today. I don't know where the hell he is, but nice to see you, see everyone. And I still got a lot of people on the chat. Wow. And I got a lot of views today. Good deal. All right, so this is probably something I'm going to keep doing. This was way better. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I'll probably keep going or doing this show. I have some. Just keep an eye out for my videos coming out, and I'm sure there'll be a couple. Also, just keep an eye out for my polls and that sort of thing on potential stories, and we'll go from there. Everybody have a blessed day. I hope, I hope everybody just has a great day, all right? And so, anyway, I'll talk to you all later. Bye. For sure. For sure. yeah, I'll definitely be doing some contributing work. So you'll see me quite a bit. All right. Talk to y'all later.